So you have Apple, Amazon, and Google, some of the big Silicon Valley tech giants, moving thousands of jobs down here to San Diego. And if you're in that camp, this video is for you.
Well, Amazon is bringing 300 new jobs to San Diego. The company is opening a new office in La Jolla, doubling its workforce.
Here in San Diego, it is definitely an employee's market with lots of jobs to choose from, and that's a challenge for local employers.
My name is Dan Parker with the Best Life Home Team, your San Diego real estate resource. And if you're relocating to San Diego, working in one of the major tech hubs, you're looking at Rancho Bernardo, University City, these areas off of the 56 freeway, let me show you what you need to know before making the move, along with some of the biggest mistakes some of my clients have made in the past. It's been really interesting watching the growth of the tech sector here in San Diego over the last couple of years and moving out into the future. Now, traditionally, the job sector here in San Diego has been really strong for biotech, life sciences, defense. Moving forward, and what we've seen recently is this growth in the tech sector. And part of the reason is the increased talent pool, these kids coming out of school that live here in San Diego already. You have the incredible weather and quality of life, and we actually have some government support that we're seeing that is helping to establish the tech sector here in San Diego. We've been seeing more and more of these tech companies moving and announcing expansion into San Diego market. And the biggest players that are moving to San Diego, you have Amazon, Apple, and Google, but it doesn't just stop there. What's interesting is you have these companies that are making very large expansions into San Diego County, and it's creating a multiplier effect on the entire industry, bringing a lot of smaller tech companies to San Diego as well. And let me just explain real quick how impactful this is going to be on the San Diego market. You have Apple alone has purchased a $445 million campus that they are going to bring 5,000 employees to by the end of 2026. And just to give you some perspective, the housing market right now in San Diego County, in the entire county, we're not even just talking the city of San Diego, only has 2,600 homes. 2,600 active properties for sale. So if all those employees move to San Diego today, each looking to purchase a house, there's not even enough for them to buy. And of course, this means if you are moving to San Diego with or without this tech wave, these are things that you have to consider. You have to bring all this into perspective and understand and have different areas in mind that you can live in and different plans for your future. And lucky for you, that's what this video is all about. So first, let's talk about where a lot of these main hubs are going to be located. Most of them that we're seeing are going to be between University City. That's where we're seeing a lot of kind of satellite offices, temporary offices over in University City. And then it kind of sprawls across over to Rancho Bernardo. So the 56 freeway, the 52 freeway, in between and a little bit above the 56 freeway is we're seeing a lot of these jobs taking place. And the great thing about that is if you work in one of these areas, you actually have access through a lot of different communities from North County San Diego through Central San Diego. You have a lot of different options on places to live, a lot of different price points, and depending on your goals and what you're looking for, there could be a few different areas that would make sense for you. And before we get too detailed into the neighborhood talk, just a quick disclaimer, I am a real estate agent and our team specializes in helping people relocate here to San Diego. So we do this all the time. If you would like some personalized information, we have a discovery call down in our description below. You can book a free 30-minute call with myself to really go over the nuances of your specific situation, what you're looking for, and help you find the best neighborhood for you and for your family. All right, so let's break down this search into three main sections of San Diego. One is going to be the closest proximity to the areas that we mentioned. So it's going to be close to the 56 freeway, north and south of the 56 freeway. That's where the majority of these offices are going to be located. The second section is going to be central San Diego. So it's going to be south of the areas that we mentioned, but central in the city of San Diego. And then the last section is going to be North County, San Diego. So for this first section, the areas in proximity to the 56 freeway, you have places like Rancho Penasquitos, 4S Ranch, Scripps Ranch, Fairbanks Ranch, Carmel Valley, Sorrento Valley, Del Mar, Torrey Highlands Ranch. There are a lot of different communities that are kind of baked into these areas. Now, these are still in the city of San Diego. These are kind of the northernmost areas in the city of San Diego. And the great thing is, if you have a family, if you're looking for highly ranked schools, if you want really close proximity to these tech hubs, this is the section for you. And in general, you're going to get some newer homes as well. You know, a lot of San Diego homes are built between the 50s and the 70s, but these areas that I just mentioned are more built in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So in a lot of ways, these are really great neighborhoods to live in, but it definitely comes with some negatives as well. And one of the biggest negatives is going to be affordability. These are some of the most desired communities throughout all of San Diego County. And because of that, they come with a pretty hefty price tag. Now, the reality is if you want to live in these areas, it's going to be over $1 million to purchase something. If you're looking for a condo, townhome, single family, you're definitely going to have access to way more single family homes. There's not not a lot of attached properties, but you can find attached properties, mainly townhomes, especially in kind of Del Mar, Carmel Valley area. But even those starting at around $1.2 million. Single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, depending on where you're living within all of these areas, starting at around $1.2 million, easily getting into the $1.5 to $2 million range. So you have to keep that in mind. And if that's not going to be within your budget, some of these other areas I'm about to mention are probably going to be better suited for you. And some of the other negatives of these areas that I just mentioned are going to be, because they're newer homes, you tend to have smaller backyards in general, not always, but tend to have smaller yards. A lot of these lots are going to be closer to 5,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet, as opposed to some of the older homes in San Diego are going to be closer to 6, 7, 8,000 square feet is going to be more regular. And then one of the other aspects of this is these neighborhoods tend to have master plan communities. The homes tend to be a little bit more cookie cutter. You're going to have bigger HOAs, and they're going to be a little bit more restrictive. So if that's something that you want to avoid, there absolutely are better neighborhoods for you to look in throughout the county. And the second section of neighborhoods that we're going to talk about today is going to be central San Diego. So you're looking at places like Mira Mesa, Serra Mesa, Claremont, and the areas around Mission Trails Regional Park, which are some of my favorite neighborhoods in San Diego. You have Tierra Santa, Allied Gardens, San Carlos. These are, in total, you're going to get a little bit more affordability in these neighborhoods than you are the other section that I was talking about. And to be honest, they're not really that far. Even if you have a daily commute, a lot of these sections are going to be maybe somewhere between 15 to 30-minute drive. So if we're talking positives here, you definitely have more affordability. The price as of today, if you're looking for a home in these neighborhoods, you can find a lot of single family homes starting at around $1 million. You can even maybe get something a little bit less than that, but around $1 million is kind of the starting point for a move-in ready single family home. Now, these are more unique properties, so they're not going to be as restrictive with HOAs and things like that in general. And you're going to have more proximity to downtown San Diego and some of the fun walkable communities around Balboa Park, places like Hillcrest, North Park, South Park, some really, really fun communities in San Diego that people like to travel to. And some of the negatives of these areas and these neighborhoods are going to be older homes. So a lot of them were built between the 50s and 70s, and the neighborhoods are going to be a little bit older as well. So you're not going to have things like as much community landscaping. You're going to see more overhead power lines as opposed to the power lines being undergrounded. So the beautification of the communities is a little bit lesser in general than those newer communities closer to the 56 freeway. And depending on which one of these neighborhoods you end up in, they don't tend to have as highly ranked schools, but nowhere in San Diego has as highly ranked schools as those communities off of the 56 freeway. One of my recommendations are here, 2 recommendations. You can go to niche.com is a great resource for overall statistics about a community. And the second one is going to be Redfin. I don't generally love, Redfin and Zillow as much as some of the other sites out there. But the nice thing about Redfin is it does have integration with greatschools.org. So you can actually create searches based off of the ratings for school districts. So there are some stipulations there. You need to know that it's not always 100% accurate what school you're going to have access to, but it's a great starting point if the quality of schools and the ranking of schools is extremely important to you and your family. And the third section I want to talk about is going to be in North County, San Diego. This is going to be more Northeast County, San Diego, off of the 15 freeway, which is the freeway that goes all the way up to Temecula. Now you have sections up there like San Marcos and Escondido, which is going to have the most affordability out of all of the different areas that we're talking about. The negative is, depending on how far and how deep you get into these areas and exactly where you're going to be working, you can easily get into a 30 or 45-minute commute. So the distance to work is going to be typically a little bit higher over here. Now, you're also going to have, unlike the city of San Diego, you're not going to have proximity to downtown San Diego, the airport, the zoo, the community surrounding Balboa Park, the walkable fun areas. If you live in Escondido, if you live in San Marcos, you're going to feel a little bit more isolated. You're going to feel a little bit more kind of rural, suburban feel. And if you want to have access to, fun things to do, you can always go to the beach. But even in those areas, you're talking 20 to 30-minute drive just to get to one of the beach areas. And again, when we're talking about ranking of schools, you're not going to have as highly ranked schools in these areas. There are sections of San Marcos that have highly ranked schools, but Escondido, for sure, not known for having the highest ranked schools. But the benefit is the affordability is there. I mean, you can find single family homes for $800,000. Now, not in every single neighborhood in these areas, but if that's what you're looking for, a move-in ready single family home, and you don't have $1 million plus to spend, you can absolutely get it in these areas. You can also find townhomes that are much more affordable as well. So if you want to get your foot in the housing market in San Diego, but you don't have $1.5 million budget, then these areas might be a good place to start and a good place to check out, depending on exactly what you're looking for. Now, there are two other areas that don't fit as neatly into the categories that I had mentioned before. One is going to be Rancho Bernardo. Now, this is the location of where Apple is building their very large campus, and so it kind of makes sense. If you're working for Apple, this might be a great place to live. It's similar to the communities off of the 56 freeway. It is a little bit older. These communities in Rancho Bernardo were built in the 70s, so they tend to have a little bit of kind of a retro feel to them. They also have a wider range of what the affordability looks like. So you have attached properties that's starting in around $500,000 to $600,000 range, and then you have single family homes starting around kind of the $1 million range. So again, depends on what you're looking for, depends on the feel that you're looking for. Rancho Bernardo might be a place worth checking out. You definitely can get some more affordability there. Now, the other place I wanted to mention is Poway. Now, Poway is just east off of the 15 freeway. And the reason why this one is different is because it is a very unique community. Poway is nicknamed the city in the country, and so you kind of have a lot of public space. You have a lot of public areas that you can hang out in, a lot of public parks, a lot of public land. It's a really pretty place to be driving through. It tends to have kind of older homes. Again, we're looking at like 50s and 60s, but there is something about Poway. There's something about Poway where people that have lived there for a long time, they absolutely love it. It's kind of a hidden gem here in San Diego. It has a unique feel, and you need to make sure that it's for you because it doesn't really fit neatly into the categories of the other sections that we've been talking about. Now, the other benefit of Poway is it absolutely has more affordability. You can find homes in Poway, single family homes, starting at around $800,000 to $900,000, and they are very nice homes. They tend to have bigger lots. The other negative that you have to worry about with Poway is it is the farther east you go in San Diego, general rule of thumb, every mile east you go is going to be about a degree hotter. So if you get into Poway, if you get deep into Poway, then it can get a little bit hotter out there than it can in pretty much any other area that we've discussed today. And some of the other considerations that we maybe briefly spoke about in this video, or we haven't yet, some other considerations that you want to think about when moving to San Diego are going to be obviously affordability. That's going to be a huge factor in where you are looking, what type of schools and how highly ranked the schools are. Another thing that I come across with my clients all the time is if you don't have kids yet, but you want to plan for kids, and spending a huge premium for a high school district is not really that beneficial for you if you're looking to live in a house for between 5 to 10 years and you don't have a child yet, then why pay this massive premium to live in a really good high school district? The consideration for schools, there can be different ranges in there as well. You also want to consider lifestyle. Do you need walkability? Do you want to live in the suburbs? What exactly do you want out of your lifestyle? And then travel time. So we did talk about travel time, but one of the considerations there is going to be, do you have a role where you are driving to the office every single day? Are you working fully remote? Or do you have a hybrid role where you're actually only going into the office 2 or 3 days a week? Now, if you're only going into the office 2 or 3 days a week, then we can even expand your search into really cool areas that I love, like Carlsbad. So it might be closer to a 40-minute drive, but that might be more digestible for you if you're only driving into work 2, maybe 3 days a week. But this can be one of the biggest mistakes that you can make, and one of the biggest mistakes that some of my past clients have tried to go down is wanting to live in Carlsbad when you work 45 minutes away, not realizing what that commute is going to be like going down the 5 freeway during rush hour. So you just want to make sure that you're really fully planning out what that commute time is going to be like and being realistic with yourself with how long is too long to be in the car every single day. So there are lots of different resources out there. Our channel, we have neighborhood tours. We have close to 200 videos. There are places like niche.com that talk about different communities in San Diego. There is a moving to San Diego subreddit that is very helpful. And then you can also reach out. We can do a discovery session, a Zoom call to find out what is important to you, your family, when making this move. And once you start to get an idea of what neighborhood is going to make the most sense, the next step is to figure out what are the specifics of planning move to San Diego, especially from afar, which I went over in detail in this video right here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.